It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Well, we are here. It is 5 o'clock, and oh my God, how much news can we deliver to you? There's so many things happening in the studio with us. We have Judge Richard Weinberg. We have former GOP chairman of Brooklyn, Craig Eaton, and a great attorney besides. And Governor George Pataki. Welcome, Governor.
Thank you, John. Always great being on.
And Rita Cosby. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm trying to keep track of all of these new Trump appointments coming in. I mean,
a lot of appointments today.
It is, and by the way, a lot of the folks that we've had here on Katz and Cosby, John, a lot of great guests that we've had here.
The guy that's in charge of the border. He is one terrific guy. I am so glad.
Tom Homan, you guys, who loves us. He's been on the show many times.
And we love him. He's terrific.
And no-nonsense guy. Also a former New York cop. And also somebody who was the acting ICE director under President Trump and other presidents and has done a great job, and has said, we're going to start. I think he's listening to you, John, because he said, we're going to start with the criminal element of migrants that are here, the 400,000 that are convicted of crimes, including 15,000 murderers and 15,000 convicted sex offenders. And yet some Democratic mayors and governors, Governor Pataki, are already coming out and saying, we're not going to deport anybody.
You know, I think the fact that the Republicans control the House and the Senate, as well as President Trump, means we can do things like defund sanctuary cities. I mean, how can they just say we're not going to follow the federal law? That's what the South tried to do in the Civil War. So the way to retaliate is simply say, okay, but we're not going to give you any federal funds. So hopefully our new Congress will do that and get them to straighten out.
Yeah, that's get tough, right, Judge Weinberg?
I think that any person who holds a position of mayor or governor who says they will not enforce the law and will not comply with the federal mandate should be removed from office. Governor?
I think theoretically, yes, but as a practical matter,
I understand.
You don't want to do that. But you can just say, we're not going to provide federal funds. You know, that's how the 21 drinking age came about. No highway funds unless the states passed the law. No federal funds unless they agreed to cooperate with ICE and follow all federal laws, including immigration laws.
The President of the United States has a lot of power.
Absolutely.
And we learned that what happened during the Biden administration was unbelievable. And I don't know if it was Joe Biden himself. I don't know if it was the people around him, but it happened.
Yeah, it sure did. By the way, it's going to be interesting, John, tomorrow, a meeting with Trump and Biden at the White House.
I understand Melania says no
way
am I going.
Yeah, you know what? I
don't blame her either. With what they did at Mar-a-Lago when they broke in there started going through her drawers.
The agents that broke in laughing and going through her drawers about her underwear?
That's what it was. That was what in the papers. I mean, it's disgraceful that the violation of her personal privacy, what they did.
Craig, you're absolutely right. And you contrast that. Biden had illegal documents in his house and his garage, and they just asked them to turn them over. No search, no investigation. And it just shows how completely distorted the Justice Department has been under Biden and Harris.
And Governor, he had no claim of right, not as a senator, not as a vice president. The only one who has any protection under the Presidential Records Act is the President of the United States.
Right.
Yeah, it was preposterous. I don't blame her. And she feels like the lawfare was over the top. Yep, and that's why, according to reports, she doesn't want to be at the White House tomorrow. It's going to be a doozy, though, to see Trump and Biden at the White House. And today Biden's meeting with the president of Israel. And I mean, to hear he's getting up to date so he can fill Trump in. But, give me a break. It should be the other way around.
It's first ever. Former president, current president, future president, right? I mean, this first time it's happened.
And by the way, you guys see the big news? After the election, CNN laid off 400 people, and MSNBC, their viewership went down 50%.
They're looking for ratings. They're like, well, you know what, John? They were a mouthpiece for Kamala Harris. Yeah, they're looking for a buyer.
Maybe you can buy them cheap, John.
But you know what? They were
That's my middle name. How cheap can I buy?
I keep saying Katz and Matidis News Network. Wow, that's CNN. That's what I say. Katz and Matidis News Network.
The ratings would go up. I'll tell you that much. The ratings would go up like a rocket the minute you bought it, John.
Something to look at, John.
Yeah.
But you know what? You understand why. You know, CNN and all these other radio shows and TV shows are saying how close the election is, and how close it's going to be, and they're going to win, and she's going to win, and then the disaster, the trifecta that the Republicans have. The people have to look back and say, what were they thinking? What were they talking about? Where were they getting their information from?
Yeah, that's the big question. And, there are reports that they're going to have more layoffs at CNN.
What happened to Wallace at CNN?
He said he is leaving. That's what he says. And he's going to do podcasts. But Chris Wallace... Yeah, I mean, he was there 3 years.
He should have stayed at Fox, is what he should have done.
He should have, yes. Chris Wallace should have. And so they may have changes too, John. Speaking of elections, John, you had a conversation with a senator, an interesting senator.
Senator Tillis called me today, and the vote is going to be tomorrow. And I think the majority leader of the United States Senate is either going to be Rick Scott, Senator Cornyn from
John Cornyn of Texas.
John Cornyn from Texas.
Or John Thune.
Or John Thune of South Dakota.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be doing their presentations tonight, guys, and then tomorrow is the secret ballot. It's like the Pope, when the smoke comes up. What do you think is going to happen, Governor Pataki?
I think it's very hard to predict. I think all three of them have agreed with President Trump as to what he wants the Senate to do. So unless the president weighs in, I think it could be anybody.
Yeah. Well, the other guy waved in. Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got to be Rick Scott.
Yeah, he did a poll online, and it overwhelmingly came out to Rick Scott online.
But guess what? The only people who can vote are the senators who are part of the Republican caucus. So with all due respect to Mr. Musk, that's your electorate.
Yeah,
Governor,
that's
correct.
That's absolutely right.
I mean, I think we can't go wrong with any one of those three.
Yeah,
right? I mean, they're all.
You mean that you think
smart.
they might be better than Chuck Schumer?
Chuck is not. Did you see Chuck Schumer is not allowing Dave McCormick?
I know.
That's crazy.
He says he's allowing it.
Oh, he is now? Is that the new news? Because he wasn't yesterday. Oh, good. So he's changed his mind.
Well, the Republicans
Good.
were going to escort him anyway, and it would have been a huge embarrassment for them to have to turn him away.
Yeah. And speaking of good news, you guys, let's also give a shout out Mike Huckabee, who just messaged me a second ago. Mike Huckabee, who we love, Governor Mike Huckabee of Arkansas. He is now being appointed as the ambassador from U.S. to Israel, and he's a huge supporter.
Excellent point.
Yes.
Yeah, that
wonderful
was great.
Man, wonderful man.
Rita, while you're still here, will you bring in Mr. Dershowitz?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go to Professor Alan Dershowitz. Professor Dershowitz, I'm going to City Hall shortly for it's Polish
night. You getting a marriage license?
No, not yet. But when it is, you guys are all invited, by the way. All right?
And I can perform the ceremony if you like.
Thank you.
Okay.
And John can be the best man, right?
I can protest.
Thank you, guys.
Your cardiologist knows your heart, and your mom knows how to mend your heart. Your ophthalmologist helps you see, and your best friend makes you feel seen. A visit to your physical therapist can heal your shoulder, and a visit to your grandma can heal your soul. Your health is a journey you don't take alone. Just like the people around you, all of us at Kaiser Permanente work together to help care for all that is you. Learn more at kp.org. Kaiser Permanente, for all that is you.